Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett takes place at UFC 324 in less than 2 weeks, and it still amazes me how wrong the odd makers have it, how wrong the TikTokers and editors of Paddy Pimblett edit videos, making him look like he's this monster of an opponent. Have it. They think that Paddy's gonna walk in there and absolutely take down Gaethje and choke him out, and have Gaethje, laying there lifeless while Paddy celebrates and takes his interim champion to fade off into the sunset for that fight with Ilya Taporia. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is not going to happen. Now, when looking at the recent performances, herein lies the issue with Paddy Pimblett versus Gaethje, guys, because this is where the meat of my prediction lies in, is the quality of opponents that these two have faced in the last 2 or 3 years. Now, when looking at Paddy Pimblett, right, he hasn't. This is not breaking news, guys. I know this is not breaking news. We all know this. He hasn't faced one elite opponent in his prime yet. He's had a protected path, which I get. I get what UFC's trying to do. They see Paddy Pimblett as a star, so they don't want to risk him losing on his way to the top five, on his way to his big fight. This is not anything new. They've done this with other potential stars in the past, but we haven't seen anything like this before with Paddy Pimblett's rise, where he's just getting fed these older, out of their prime, stiff, not ship, being just over the hill opponents that are just strikers to make it easier for his style to beat them, right? We all know that, right? But there's this illusion that he's faced elite talent. Michael Chandler at one point, yes, he was a top six, top seven, true top six, top seven lightweight contender. But that was, before he went on this 2 year layoff, before he, called out Conor McGregor and wasted, 2 or 3 years of his career and, whatever was left of his prime, right? And hasn't really truly faced anybody. His performances with Tony Ferguson really spoke a whole lot about Paddy Pimblett's overall game. Now being able to finish Ferguson at the state he was in, truly, truly, truly makes me believe that Paddy Pimblett is not a top five elite lightweight fighter in this game. If you look at Gaethje, for example, he's fighting the top of the top still. Look at his performance against Fiziev. Fiziev is one of the scariest lightweight contenders in the last couple of years. I think people slowly forget that Fiziev was one of those fighters that, contenders avoided on their way up their rankings. They didn't want to, mess with him. And, Gaethje took that chance while he was looking to fight contenders and beat him, right? And dominated him in the last round of their first fight. If you guys remember, his technical striking that people said he didn't have started to come into play. Those uppercuts, the left hooks, showing his dangerous power. That's one thing that people keep forgetting, is the performance he's had, the knockout over Dustin Poirier. These are elite talent, guys. These aren't the Bobby Greens of the world that Gaethje's having these performances against. These are elite talent. So just look at the recent performances and really look at the quality of opponents that these two have faced, and it's not even close. They're not playing at a level playing field, right? So that's one. And two, one thing I cannot ignore is the championship experience between the two. Obviously, this is Paddy Pimblett's first time, I believe his first 5-round fight, I believe, in the UFC, and it's against someone that's been in there with the elite of the elite. Gaethje obviously is 0-2 in championship fights, and he's been in there with Oliveira, who does have a very similar style to Paddy Pimblett to an extent, and also Khabib Nurmagomedov, who's also a heavy wrestler, grappler. So here lies two examples, right, of Gaethje going in there with grapplers, and obviously it didn't really work out for him, to say the least. He was finished by both these fighters. I think he was finished by Khabib in round 2 and Oliveira in round 1, so he hasn't really found much success against these type of opponents at the championship level. But if you're thinking about comparing Paddy to Khabib or Oliveira in any way, you're truly mistaken. These guys are two of the greatest lightweights of all time, and these two wouldn't have an issue with someone like Jared Gordon or Tony Ferguson at his state finishing any of these two guys. I know Oliveira didn't finish Ferguson, but this was Ferguson just coming out of his prime that he faced. So just the championship experience of Justin Gaethje will come into play. Guys, don't forget how Gaethje performed against Tony Ferguson. That was one of the most vicious performances of all time. You don't truly see a guy quitting to strikes in a championship fight ever. And the way that Tony Ferguson's career basically ended was in that moment when he decided to wave off Justin Gaethje's strikes because of the power, because of the damage that he inflicted on him. And this was late in the fight, guys. This was round 5. So this shows that Gaethje has experience in those late rounds, the 4th and 5th rounds. He's also been late in the rounds with Dustin Poirier in the first fight, and obviously Max Holloway in that BMF fight. Obviously, these two didn't go his way for him, but these are against two of the most elite strikers that the UFC has ever seen. So the championship experience, I think, will come into play if it needs to get into the 4th or 5th round. But I truly, truly, truly believe that the technical striking difference will make this close out in the 2nd or 3rd round. Because I don't see Paddy Pimblett getting further than the 3rd round. I'll be shocked if I see him get past that 3rd round. I just think that the striking difference is that drastic. Now they're both brawlers, Gaethje and Pimblett, right? They both have a brawler style when it comes to striking, but the difference is Gaethje's style in most recent years has been refined. His own style has been perfected, and he's just a much cleaner striker at this stage of his career. Those uppercuts against Fiziev, even the leg kicks. I think that will come into play. The leg kicks. I think he will start chopping at Paddy Pimblett's legs early, right, his calves early, and I just think from then on damage will be inflicted early and often. And I think he will. If Paddy's not going for takedowns immediately, this is a done deal. I believe in Gaethje's takedown defense at this stage of his career, based on his losses against Khabib and Oliveira and how he's looked recently, his takedown defense against other strikers, and how Paddy's not really much of a huge offensive wrestler. He doesn't really have great takedowns. So I believe Gaethje's gonna keep the standing, and I believe he's gonna get it done. 2nd or 3rd round. I just see a huge difference in striking ability, the big power difference, and I just don't see someone that lost to. I know it wasn't on paper, but we all know Paddy lost to Jared Gordon, and I think that Justin Gaethje would do unspeakable things to Jared Gordon in the octagon at any stage of his career. So when you get to those top 5s, top 3s of the game, it's really a huge difference. And guys, can't wait to tune in. We'll see how it goes. But it still shocks me that people really, really have Paddy as a favorite here. I think Gaethje will get it done early and fast. 2nd or 3rd round, guys. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm trying to get this channel going, guys. Like the video, maybe leave a comment what your prediction is, and we'll go from there, guys. Thank you.